Hey yogis, Nico here with Freestyle Revival Yoga and Nutrition with a special sleepy time sequence to help you gear down for bed. So put on something comfy, grab a pillow or a bolster, and let's get started. So for our first exercise, if you have a bolster, great. If not, that's fine. You can just put a pillow underneath your sits bones. You're going to sit right on top of this bolster. So coming up nice and tall, we want to create a little space for your hips. So by sitting on a pillow off your bed, off your sofa, you'll get your hips a little bit higher, which helps you to drop your knees. Just taking a nice, comfortable seated position, grounding down into your sits bones, settling into your mat. Taking a big inhale. We're going to do 2 breaths here. Big inhale, arms overhead. Palms touch. Exhale, palms come down and rest on the knees. That's one. One more. Big inhale. Exhale. Palms come and gently rest on the knees. So for our first stretch, just to start to gear down the body, we're going to do a seated neck stretch. So what you're going to do with your bolster underneath you, you're going to just gently sit on the top of this left hand, and this right hand's going to go out to the side. You're going to drop your right ear to your right shoulder, nice and gentle. If you want, you can use this hand to just gently guide the neck down, holding it here, breathing into the side of the neck muscles. As you just start to slow down your breathing, release any tension that you have in the upper back, upper neck. 2 more big breaths here. And with this right hand resting and cradling your hand, I want you to bring your head right back up to center so you take any work out of the neck that you just stretched. We're going to go ahead and switch sides. So right hand's going to come underneath the right glute. Left hand's going to go out to the side, or you can use it to gently guide this left ear to your left shoulder. Feel free to close your eyes. You might notice one side of your neck is much tighter, especially if you're right hand dominant. This might be the side that's a little bit tighter than the opposite side. So really breathe into the side of those neck muscles here. Letting the tension just start to drop away as you start to gear down for the evening. Using that hand to push your head all the way back up to center. So we're in a perfect position to do a wide leg seated stretch. So we're going to start with our right leg out. So you can still stay on that bolster just to give yourself a little bit more space in your hips. So I'm not fully sitting on it, but it's lifting me up just a little bit so that I can get above my hips and relax into the floor. So you're going to inhale, arms are going to go overhead, just the left arm overhead, stretching out the side of the waist. If you're flexible, bendy, you can bend that right elbow, releasing onto that right shin. If you're not super flexible, you can stay here. As I told you, we're just gearing down for sleep. So it's really not about how far we go. It's just about breathing and releasing the body. Exhale, coming back up, a nice little counter stretch here. Right arm over, left arm back. And inhale, coming back to center. So switching sides, staying a little bit up on that bolster. Right knee comes in, left leg comes out for a seated separate leg stretch. Again, it doesn't really matter how far you go in the stretch, just starting to release the body. So left hand down, right arm over. Taking a couple deep breaths here, breathing into the side of the waist. Just releasing the side of the waist, the paraspinal muscles start to loosen up. Inhale, coming back up for a nice little counter stretch as you go the opposite direction, palms going up towards the ceiling. Inhale, coming back to center. Again, since we're already seated on the floor, we have that bolster right behind us. We're going to do a seated butterfly stretch. So it's modified. So you're up on that block or on that bolster or pillow from your bed. And we're going to just slightly hinge forward here. So not so much rounding the spine as you're flattening the spine down, grabbing your toes together, dropping your head. Breathing into the hips. So in this sequence, it's more about stimulating a parasympathetic response, so less of the push-pull. So just find that comfortable edge where you can breathe and not be too tense as you release into the stretch. Holding it here for a couple more breaths. If you have an extra pillow or bolster, you're welcome to put one in between your tummy and your feet. That sounds really nice to lay on top of. Exhale, one more breath here. Inhale, coming back up. So now we're going to roll it onto our backs. So using that bolster again here, we're going to do a modified bridge pose. So this bolster is going to go right underneath the tailbone, right underneath the small of the low back. So we're going to roll it back nice and slow. You can cactus your arms here. This is a great heart opener. So we're going to do a modified bridge pose here. So we're going to lift our hips up off the bolster and bring our arms down to the side. Holding and breathing here. 2 more breaths. 1 more. Exhale, dropping it down nice and slow. So we're in our perfect position for a modified Virasana or hero pose. So you're going to take this right leg behind you and you're going to come back down onto your bolster. So you're nice and supported here. If you're super, super, super tight in your quads and this is not an option, you can actually bring the bolster again underneath your sits bone rather than just under the small of your low back and lie it down here. Feel free to take whatever arm position you like. The cactus position with the bolster is a really beautiful heart opener that you can try. One more breath here. Exhale. Switching sides. So you can just roll off to your right side to switch feet, grabbing your right foot underneath you now. Again, whatever variation you like. The bolster for me right now is underneath both my sits bone and my upper back, which is one of the beautiful things about the bolsters. They tend to be a little bit longer than a bed pillow. Again, taking any variation of your arms that you like here. Breathing into that front quadricep. Exhale, coming back up, just releasing that leg, rolling off on the side of your bolster for a couple more stretches before we finish off our practice. So you're going to move the bolster just to the side. Actually, it's going to come right underneath your hips for this modified twisting pose. So you'll see it's lined up perfectly with the rib cage on the left side. I'm going to just drape myself over the side of the bolster. Knees are going to come to the side. You can relax your head down if you like, and this is one option. Another nice variation for this twist that's supported is to open up your body to the back wall. So your knees are stacked over each other, your upper back, mid back, everything's laying nice and flush on the bolster. Your arms can go in any position that you like. And again, if this is too much of a stretch for you, you can always stay laying on your side for this modified twist. Switching sides, one more time, opposite side. So same thing here, staying on top of the bolster or taking any variation that you like. Your knees go out to the side, dropping them stacked, feet are stacked, heels are stacked, arms are overhead. Breathing and relaxing here on the top of the bolster. Starting to feel your body gearing down with these gentle stretches, coming back to center. So we're going to do one more modified pose just because we have the bolster lined up perfectly. We're going to come back into the small of the low back for a separate leg stretch. So we're going to start with this right leg. So our right leg's going to come in. You'll be a little bit more limited in your movement because you're supported with this bolster behind you. Grabbing underneath your right knee, pulling in for wind removing pose on this right side. Exhale, straighten the leg, switching sides. So right leg comes down, left leg comes in, grabbing right underneath the kneecap. If you need to use a strap, you can feel free to use a strap. Pulling it in nice and tight, off to the side just a bit. Inhale, coming back up to our seated position. So we've been using the bolster all night for these stretches, so we're going to finish with a cat-cow child's pose here, and then you should be nice and geared down for bed. So coming on your hands and knees into your cat-cow position. So the bolster is going to line up right with your kneecaps here. So you're going to chin to chest, holding it here. Exhale, dropping it down. Looking up at the ceiling one more time, chin to chest. Exhale, dropping it down. And taking your variation of Balasana or child's pose. So for me, it's the end of the day. I like to create a little more space in my hips. So my feet are together, my knees are super wide. If you have a block, even better. You can put this right underneath your bolster or your pillow, and it'll give you a little more length and like a kickstand for your pillow. If not, you can always lay it flush on the ground for our final stretch with it, which is child's pose. So coming down on your bolster, taking your ear to one side of the mat, breathing nice and deep into that pose, letting your hips settle into the ground. Slowing down your breathing. One more inhale through the nose, out through the nose. Coming back right to where we started in that separate legs seated position at the front of our mat. So taking your bolster, coming back to the front of the mat, taking whatever comfortable seated position you like. I think we started with a cross-legged seated position. And we're going to do that same neck stretch that we started with tonight. So one more time, we're going to do the opposite side first. So drop that left ear to the side. And gently use this top hand to just pull the head a little further over, closing the eyes. Creating some space between the head and neck for sweet dreams. Using this left hand to push yourself back up to center, taking all the weight out of your head, dropping it over to the right side. Again, using this right hand to just gently pull the neck to the side. Again, taking all the weight, this heavy head of yours resting in the top of that right hand, bringing it back up to center. Right back to where we started. Big inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, hands down to the knees, grounding down. Thanks for gearing down with me tonight. I hope you have sweet dreams. Make sure you like this channel and subscribe, and have a great evening.